False election claims in the spotlight on Capitol Hill with the second hearing by the House committee investigating January 6th. Some of former President Trump's top officials were among those describing what unfolded after Election Day.
There was an avalanche of all these allegations of fraud that built up over a number of days, and it was like playing whack-a-mole because something would come out one day and then the next day it would be another issue.
Lots of video testimony from the former president's inner circle was one part of the presentation by lawmakers investigating the attack on the Capitol.
And the lawmakers also heard from witnesses who had to investigate those false claims. Tarek Miner joins us now to break down more of the testimony as the committee dug deeper, that is, into what it calls the big lie. Tarek?
And the most powerful testimony today came from a videotaped interview with former Attorney General William Barr, who didn't hold his tongue while describing Trump's claims of election voter fraud.
Told him that the stuff that his people were shoveling out to the public were that the claims of fraud were and, he was indignant about that. And I reiterated that they'd wasted a whole month on these claims on the Dominion voting machines, and they were idiotic claims.
Even before the final votes were counted in the 2020 election, Attorney General William Barr says former President Trump was already alleging fraud, saying Trump was increasingly at odds with reality.
When I went into this and would, tell him how crazy some of these allegations were, there was never an indication of interest in what the actual facts were. My opinion then and my opinion now is that the election was not stolen by fraud. And I haven't seen anything since the election that changes my mind on that, including the 2000 Mules movie.
After the election, as of November 7th, in your judgment, what were the chances of President Trump winning the election?
After that point?
Yes.
None.
Barr resigned in the aftermath of the talk of voter fraud. Former Fox News political editor Chris Starwatt defended his network's decision to announce Joe Biden was projected to win the state of Arizona, saying Biden's lead was too big and Trump needed key swing states to compete any further.
He needed 3 of these states to change. And in order to do that, you're better off to play the Powerball than to have that come in.
The Trump campaign legal team knew there was no legitimate argument, fraud, irregularities, or anything to overturn the election. And yet President Trump went ahead with his plans for January 6th anyway.
The House Select Committee also replayed videos in which they say then President Trump lied to the American public.
We have a company that's very suspect. Its name is Dominion.
Claims that were shot down by his own legal counsel.
I thought the Dominion stuff I never saw any evidence whatsoever to sustain those allegations.
Representative Zoe Lufgren calls Trump's big lie a big ripoff, detailing his fundraising efforts in the weeks following the election based on false claims.
The Trump campaign knew these claims of voter fraud were false, yet they continued to barrage small-dollar donors with emails, encouraging them to donate to something called the Official Election Defense Fund. The Select Committee discovered no such fund existed.
I don't believe there is actually a fund called the Election Defense Fund.
Is it fair to say that the Election Defense Fund was another, I think we called it a marketing tactic? Yes.
Now, former Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien was scheduled to appear but had to cancel at the last minute because his wife went into labor. 3 other Republicans, though, testified today, including a former Philadelphia city commissioner and a former U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. They talked about the threats their offices received after finalizing the vote. Mary?
Tarek, thanks. The next hearing is set for Wednesday at 10 a.m. and we'll be bringing that to you live right here on Channel 4 after the morning show. You can also watch it on news4jax.com or News4Jax Plus.